Hello everyone, this is General Hand Grenade. Welcome to my war room in Prince George, British Columbia. This is the last video in the Building a Global War Army series, and then it's time to move on to another series. So what I'll do after I finished uploading this one, or maybe I'll wait till tomorrow, I'm getting kind of tired now, but I will make a playlist so that at some point in time, if like you're not planning on building an army now and you want some ideas, say 6 months from now, then you can just go to that playlist and they will all be there. Anyway, so I decided that when I did the Chinese, there was nothing to show you. Like all there was infantry and militia to show you. So I thought what I'd do is I'd do a video, because I was going to do the neutrals as well. I thought I'd do that video all at once, and while I was doing that, I might as well put them on the board, because looking at the neutrals in a box isn't very much fun. But I wanted to show you what the neutrals look like set up, so I might as well set the Chinese up if I was going to do that, because it's all just infantry. And also I'm getting anxious. I really want to play this game, so this will be the start of my setup. I've got the neutrals and the Chinese set up, and I've just got to set everybody else up and I can get at it. So let's get started here. So the Chinese, hang on a second, let me get that box out. I showed you the other day. Can't find it. Anyway, I showed you the other day on Combat Miniatures, the Caesar Miniatures box where the Chinese came out of. And what I did was I painted them. I can't remember what color they came in, but they weren't the right color. So I've painted the custom infantry in this color, which was pretty close to the out-of-box color. It's a little shinier. And then I also painted the, I like the color so much, I also painted the militia, which was the out-of-box Axis and Allies infantry. So I painted those up too. Anyway, the only other thing they have in the opening setup for 1936 is a torpedo boat destroyer, and they've got a couple of naval bases. I really like the way the naval bases came out. It's nobody's favorite color, but I wasn't doing it because it was going to be somebody's favorite color. I kind of think the color is a bit hideous too. What I wanted was something that was going to stand out. Like most of the colors are taken up on my board, and you'll see when I have everything set up, like just about every color under the rainbow is there. So I had to find something unique, so that the naval bases and also I painted the other bases the same color, shipyards. Anyway, just throw that in there. Okay, so yeah, so it's just custom infantry and militia, and then this is the color I painted the Spanish Republicans and the Communist Chinese, because they're part of the same faction, which is the Russian faction, but it's not quite the same color as the Russians. Like it's an off brown color. And so I thought that I'd paint them the same colors as the Republicans. Let me just take you over to the China box though and show you what I've done. Now I don't know how this is going to play out, so I wasn't sure what to do. I put the Chinese in the French box just like I did with Global 40. So what I've done is I've painted up a selection of things, mostly American pieces I think, because like I was saying in the American video, you get tons of American pieces, right? And I've got tons of extra ones, except like there's a Polish truck. Like I tried to paint up a little bit of everything, right? There's an artillery. I don't think that you'd be buying a lot of stuff. I put a few ships in, no capital ships I don't think. There's a destroyer. Oh, I did paint a battleship. It's one of those early war battleships. I didn't know what else to do with those, so I painted one of those up for them. And like just a light tank. Just a couple of pieces, right? And then I'll see, like there's a fighter in there. I'll see if they need more than that, then I'll paint more than that. I think I did a medium bomber. I don't know where it is. Anyway, there's those. And I painted up a few for the Communist Chinese. I think though that most games that you play, I'm pretty sure what's going to happen is the Japanese are just going to kick the shit out of them. And that'll be it for the Chinese. But there will be the odd game where the Japanese decide to go against the Americans instead, instead of making a push on India and going through China and slaughtering them. So it could be that the Chinese have a chance every once in a while. So that's why I painted those extra pieces, and I've got lots of pieces in my closet and lots of paint left. So if I find that there's a game where I'm going to need more, then I'll just use American pieces out of the closet and paint them up as Chinese. So that's China. China is about the easiest thing to do, right? You just throw your Chinese guys on, and you need some militia chips, and that's about all you do. Okay, so for the other ones, well, we might as well just stay here in Asia. Okay, these are the Netherlands. Like, you can get orange pieces. Go to the sale bin, and the neutrals are on sale there. But I wanted more than just the Dutch infantry sculpt. Like, I wanted that, which is this sculpt here, for the militia. But I also wanted some custom infantry. So this here, like in the South Pacific, they did wear these type of hats. I don't know if they got them from the Aussies or what, but these are just World War I Anzac sculpts, and so I thought they fit. They look just like the guys in the pictures that I've seen on the internet. I did look on the internet when it came to doing my neutral armies. This is what I spent the most time on. It was filling out my neutral armies. Because I didn't know what you needed, and so I kind of went overboard. Like, yeah, I've got all of them on there. Let me just show you. So I've got all the neutral armies on there, right? And then this is the neutral box over here. And, you know, like the odds and ends box too. I got extra factories and their stuff. But look at, like, this is, here's the extra units for Turkey, because even without buying the Turkey expansion set, I've got so many units that I just painted them up and in the Turkey color. And like, I've got the Turkish roundels from the World War I game, like the really nice ones even. And I had the really nice roundels for the Dutch. You know, like I've got a Marine sculpt for them. I'm going to paint up a Commando sculpt for them. Just looking at the expansion set rules, I've got one of these Fokker seaplanes for them. You know, so I can play with the Netherlands rules or not. And then there's lots of others extras, like here, what are those for? I think they're Polish or Brazilian, you know, just in case they enter the war. I'm not sure if they do or not, right? Here's the Republican Spanish right here, and Spain. Spain is the yellow ones here. I even painted up one of those battleships as well, because in the expansion set, the Spanish Civil War, they had that. And I got the roundels as well. I would have liked to have got the nice roundels, but you don't need, like, you probably only need 5 of each, right? And to buy 10 of them is kind of a waste of money, $6 each. You know what they should do is they should put out a set of those, put 5 Republican and 5 nationalist roundels in a set. Then I think they'd sell a lot more of them, because then it's not a waste of money, right? But anyway, I've got extra sculpts in there for the nationalist, the Spanish, and just extra sculpts for all the other colors that I'm using, right? And this isn't even all the neutral armies that I have. Like, I've got more in that I haven't even painted up yet. Like a couple of more sets that I haven't even used. So anyway, there's the Netherlands down there. And they've got boats. They've got torpedo boats and torpedo boat destroyers, and and they got submarines. If you need to know how many torpedo boat destroyers and submarines that the neutrals need, then all you have to do is just download the rules. There's 4 pages of them. I guess that would be 8 pages, because there's 4 pages and they're printed on both sides. And just go through it. That's what I did. You just go through and count how many torpedo boat destroyers and how many coastal submarines. And the easiest thing to do would be to just get those ones in the sale bin, and they're on sale, and just count up what you need. Count up all the neutrals and see what you need. And remember, if it says you need 3 infantry in a territory, you only need 1 of them, because the other 2 are chips, right? So you count up how many cavalry you need, how many factories you need, how many infantry you need, and how many fighters, and just do it that way, and then you can make them all the same color, and it would be a lot cheaper than what I did, and a lot easier as well, right? But I like to play around, and so that's what I did. So anyway, Netherlands, and then we got the Siam guys, and like things like the Siam guys are the same color as the Mongolian guys up there, right? What I tried to do was space things out. Like I didn't put two colors side by side, except for there's one place in there where I got a whole bunch of them side by side, and I'll show you that in a minute here when we get over there. So there's the Afghanis there, they're dark brown, and I tried to get sculpts that looked kind of like these ones would be, but these guys look like they could be Iranians, right? They're actually Turkish, but they look like they could be Iranian. So they're Ottoman 1914 sculpts, custom infantry, but I painted them in different colors, and of course that's what I painted the Turkish up like as well, right? So a lot of these things are just these chips here, and they're glued onto their militia chips. That guy there, that's just a first edition Anzac guy. This guy here, I can't remember who these guys might have been Russians or something. World War I Russians, I can't remember. But there was, I've seen people like that with hats in there. Probably not from the Belgian Congo, but whatever, Anyway, there's Turkey, and I got tons of extra Turkish units in case down the road I play the Turkish set. The coastal guns look really good on the board. I really like that. These are just beautiful pieces from Combat Miniatures. These are the Greeks. They're red, and they got a destroyer. But you know what? I didn't just use the neutral destroyers. Like this is a American destroyer, right? So I just, like I used American destroyers or British cruisers or whatever, right? Like you get lots of extra pieces in Axis and Allies, and you don't need them in this game here, especially Americans and British. So if you're painting them like I was, then it's easy to fill out your boats and things like that, right? Otherwise, like you'll get, I think 2 cruisers and 2 destroyers and 2 transports in those sets. I can't remember. But anyway, then you'll count up how many sets you need, right? So up here, there we got the Yugoslavians in yellow, and they've got a torpedo boat destroyer too. Now these guys up here, without getting too deeply into the rules, you see there's 6 nations there, and I've painted them all white. What the reason for me doing that, painting a whole swath of them like that, is those are there's different rules for all the different neutrals, and so those neutrals there, it's kind of like Global 40. They would be pro-Axis neutrals. So Germany, all they need to do is walk into those countries, and then all of those guys become German, right? But it's not that simple though. Like every time they do that, then the American income goes up and the British income goes up, and when those incomes get to a certain point, then those nations enter the war, right? So Germany can't just go all out and just take all 6 of them as quickly as possible, because that gets the Americans and the British more money, right? So the Germans kind of need to do it slowly. Just take one a turn, one a turn, one a turn, one a turn. And also there's a rule, I can't remember what it is, but it has to do with when you're touching, when a major power, Axis power, is touching the Soviet Union. So you kind of want to take Romania last there, right? And you can see how much stuff Romania has. And these air bases turned out really cool too, didn't they? That air base there in Romania. So anyway, that's why all those ones are white, because those are all countries that the Germans would just have to walk into. But other countries like that one there, Switzerland, they have to fight that guy in there. Or there's actually three mountain infantry in Switzerland, but they can't just walk in there and take over. They'd have to fight those guys, right? So down here, Liberia, they've just got. There's not much. There's only three militia sculpts in Africa and 1 naval base down there, right? So here's the Spanish Civil War that's going on. The nationalists are yellow, and the Republicans are that brown color that I talked about a couple minutes ago. Same color as the Communist Chinese. And I've got extra sculpts for all of those, because like people lend lease to them, and they may or may not, depending on how they roll, get more pieces every turn. And that Civil War will go on until World War II starts, right? And there will be points given out for whoever wins that or whatever. But I tried, for the most part, to use Russian pieces for the Republicans. Like that's a Russian medium bomber and a Russian early war fighter here. And, these are Russian sculpts, historical board gaming sculpts. Like those sets that I was talking about in the sale bin, like to get all the Russian units. I didn't need these infantry sculpts for the Russians, so I turned these into Republican Spanish, right? And these here, I got sets of the Axis miners for Germany and for Italy. Well, I didn't need these sculpts for that, so these guys became Spanish, right? And boats and stuff, you just get them from wherever. Like these were those were actually boats from the neutral sets, except for the torpedo boat the coastal submarine. That's a World War I submarine, painted up. And like this guy here, he's unpainted. These two things, I've got a gray set, they're unpainted. Those ones are, like a lot of the other ones are painted, right? So before we go to the top of the board, let's just take a look over here at South America. I think they were talking in the video when they were talking about the next edition of this game that's they're hopefully getting out in 2019. I think they were talking about having something going on down here in South America, like an expansion set by then, or maybe it won't come out until then, where these guys could be fighting each other, because it's probably not where they just sat there with their fingers up their asses while there was a war going on all over the world. Like they were probably taking pot shots at each other too, who knows, right? But whatever, like they'll find something to do down here, so these pieces aren't just sitting here, like the ones down in Argentina here. The Germans can try to annex those once. They can roll a dice once and they have to get a 2 or less. And if they get it, then these guys become aligned to the Germans. And if they don't get it, well, then they don't get to try again, right? And if anybody tries to come down here, whether it's the Comintern or the Axis, tries to come down here and take any one of these out, then the Americans will enter the war immediately. Doesn't matter if it's on the first turn, the second turn, or the 12th turn. The Americans, it's called the Monroe Doctrine, that they won't allow anybody to come in here. Anyway, you can see how I tried to spread it out, like all different colors there, right? I did spread that. I think this is the only one there's 2 blue ones too. So these guys, I gave them the cowboy hats too. Those are the World War I Anzac. I kind of thought that they'd look something like that, perhaps Brazilians. They're kind of laid back down there. And I don't know, there wasn't really any rhyme or reason on how I picked the colors. Maybe like I tried to go what I think of when I think of that nation, like what color comes to my mind, like these guys here. It could be that I went with something close to what color their country is on the board. But like these guys here, their soccer team wears blue, so I made them blue. It's just like that, right? Sweden, they're got to be yellow, right? Because all their sports teams are yellow. So you take a look up there, and there's Mexico up there. They got a bit of stuff, and Latin America. This place down here is American, and I think they got either an infantry or a militia down there. I can't remember. I'll find out again tomorrow after I set everybody else up. So anyway, that's this half of the board down there. Here, let me just set this down over here instead of walking around the table with it. Not as quiet as I used to be, because now I'm walking on a floor, a hard floor, not just a carpet like I used to, right? But this floor is so much nicer. Okay, so this guy down here, this Irish guy down here, he's supposed to be just a militia. And I'm using the kind of sculpt that I use for Marines or Mountain. I'm actually using the World War I for Mountain. That's what I started doing. And then I switched for the major powers. But that's how I started out, was using all the World War I for Mountain Infantry. And then I found the cool Mountain Infantry, or Historical Board Gaming released them. But So anyway, this is the only green unit I had. Of course, he had to be Irish, right? So here's some more Dutch over here. So these are the same color, but I didn't give this guy a cowboy hat. They didn't wear the cowboy hats in Europe, right? This is actually a French sculpt, but he kind of looked like some of the pictures. Like I looked at a lot of pictures. You know, like I type in Dutch infantry World War II, and they kind of look like that. So whatever. I can do what I want. I think it looks cool. And the Belgians here. So again, mountain infantry. That's a World War I sculpt. That's the Ottoman Empire sculpt, right? Anyway, both of them are. That's the World War One. Both of them are different sets though. This is custom infantry, and this is Axis and Allies 1914. So up here we have the coastal gun again, and just a militia chip for Norway. And Sweden, of course, they've got to be yellow. Sweden, that's what I think of when I see Sweden. And you see down here, these are the elite infantry for Finland. They're ski troops. That's what makes them elite infantry. And here's that Mannheim line. Well, that's what I'm using to simulate it. It's Eberhard's Atlantic wall bunker. So that's there's a bunker there. So if Russia were to attack this territory, then that's a modifier. It's going to put it this way. It's not going to be easy to attack that space there. And I didn't spend a whole lot of time with these guys. I just threw 3 different things on that I bought. Right, like it doesn't matter about them really. Let's move this around. And Poland. Poland becomes British at a certain point in time, or if they get attacked, then they become British units. But so they start with quite a bit of stuff in there, and yeah, it looks like as far as neutrals go, they play a fairly big role in this game. There's the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact between Russia and Germany that they can sign or not sign, and that would be a part of it as well as Finland would. It just allows both nations to start attacking without being at war with each other. I think I've gone through all of them though now. But anyway, that's the neutral armies, and you see the neutral box over there. I'll just pan around. You can take another look. I tell you, this looks a lot better to me than that other map that I had. It's not that, like, the map is exactly the same. It's just this one's bigger. Like, you look here in Romania, and everybody's got their own little space in here. Like, they could move around and everything if they wanted. Now, before, I had them crammed in there so tight you could barely tell this was a yellow territory. And that's because I'm using units, instead of using little markers. But it'll be even more of a difference when I put all the major armies on, because they have more air bases and more naval bases and shipyards and things like that. The neutrals don't have many at all, right? So anyway, I'm really pleased with this map and all the space. It was worth all the work that I did in here. All this work that I did in my room here was in order to fit this bigger map, because I really wanted more space on my map. Even my Axis and Allies map is bigger than the normal Axis and Allies map. Take a look at the Dutch down there from the other side. Yeah, I'm going to have fun playing this. Anyway, I wanted to set it up because I'm getting tired of just throwing pieces on the map and telling y'all about it and then taking them off again. You know, like, I want to set it up and I want to play. So that's why it's taken a long time between the last video and this video. Plus I had to go out, I had to take my mom to a doctor's appointment. Anyway, General Hand Grenade, take care everyone. Bye.